Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has been arrested outside the Islamabad High Court. Members of his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party claim that Khan was assaulted as he was taken into custody. Khan was arrested by the Pakistan Rangers over a corruption case with Islamabad police. The PTI chief had claimed that the ISI was not allowing him to join ongoing investigations. Russia marked the 78th anniversary of its victory over Nazi Germany. Speaking at the celebrations, Russia's President Vladimir Putin hailed the Russian soldiers fighting the Ukraine war. Putin said that the country's future rests on its soldiers fighting in the country. While addressing the Russian troops, Putin called his soldiers' efforts most important act in the nation's interest today, saying that the future of Russia's statehood and its people depend on the soldiers at the war front. While addressing a large conglomeration of military personnel and top diplomats during the Victory Day, Putin mentioned that the West has forgotten the ones who defeated the monstrous global evil of Nazism during the World War II. Putin further reiterated his statement by calling out the Western elites who always talk about their exclusivity, play off people and provoke bloody conflicts. He also blamed the West for what he termed sowing Russophobia and aggressive nationalism. The Kremlin has said that Russia will be soon developing military facilities in Kyrgyzstan. The development comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Kyrgyz counterpart Zaparov held talks in Moscow. The heads of states emphasized the importance of strengthening the Kyrgyz Republic's armed forces. Kyrgyzstan, which is an ex-Soviet republic, is linked to Russia through a Moscow-led military alliance called the Collective Security Treaty Organization. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen is in Kiev to mark the Europe Day celebration of peace and unity. The President of the European Commission travelled on an overnight train from Poland to see President Volodymyr Zelensky and work on Ukraine's quest for eventual EU membership, as Ukraine delivers a symbolic retort to Moscow's Victory Day parade. Like Russia, Ukraine too used to celebrate the Victory Day on May 9th, but owing to the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war, Kiev moved to change its Victory Day celebrations to 8th of May. Now, the Joe Biden administration wants airlines to pay passengers in the US for lengthy delays. President Biden and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg have announced the start of the rulemaking process regarding this. This comes just weeks before the start of the peak travel season in the summer. Under this, the airline would have to compensate passengers for delays. They have to pay for their meals and hotels for delays within the airline's control. President Joe Biden, while announcing this, said that American air travelers deserve better. A light aircraft in Ecuador crashed, killing the pilot and a passenger. The Ecuadorian General Directorate of Civil Aviation said that another passenger was injured in the crash and is currently in the hospital. The light aircraft, a Cessna 182, crashed in the vicinity of the airport. Authorities are yet to confirm what caused the plane to come down. Now, with increasing tensions in the South China Sea, Taiwan has begun training its women to join the military forces. According to reports, the first batch of Taiwan's female reservists have started training alongside their male comrades. The island nation aims to boost what it calls an all-out defense against increasing threats from neighboring China. Vietnam is clamping down on social media websites. The country is ready to make identity verification mandatory for users. This new policy will apply to platforms both local and foreign. The state is claiming that these radical changes to social media policies in the country is being done to tackle online scams. The legislation, being called the Telecommunications Law Amendment, is all set to be rolled out by the end of this year. All unverified accounts on sites such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok will also be dealt with. However, the legislation will need to be greenlit by the Vietnamese parliament before it comes into force. Now, China has expelled a Canadian diplomat in Shanghai in a tit-for-tat move after Ottawa expelled a Toronto-based Chinese diplomat. Canada expelled Chinese diplomat Zhao Wei after an intelligence report accused him of trying to target a Canadian lawmaker critical of China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority. In response to Canada's expulsion, China told Jennifer Lynn Ledonde, the consul of the Canadian consulate in Shanghai, will be leaving Beijing by May 13th. China has warned Canada to stop escalating tensions by provoking unreasonable tensions. Now, India monitored several Chinese ships in a portion of the South China Sea where a flotilla of Southeast Asian nations were engaged in joint military drills. The Chinese ships were detected about 100 nautical miles away from the area where the navies of India, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, Indonesia and Brunei were participating. According to reports, the boats belonged to a Chinese maritime militia, and China appeared to be using the militia to intimidate and disrupt the ongoing naval exercise. Now, in a first, a 35-year-old Chinese woman took a fertility hospital to court as it refused to freeze her eggs owing to her unmarried marital status. In a landmark case of a Chinese woman fighting for her reproductive rights, Teresa Xu first lodged the claim against the Beijing Obstetrics and Gynecology Hospital. It is difficult for unmarried women across China to have children via egg freezing or the IVF treatment facilities due to an archaic natural rule stating one must be married to receive any fertility treatment. Israel's Foreign Minister Eli Cohen, who was on a 3-day trip to India, had to cut short his India visit and return home due to security concerns in Israel. Israel's India envoy had recently said that the cooperation between the two nations is based on deep trust. India and Israel established full diplomatic relations back in 1992, and since then the bilateral relations between the two countries have blossomed at the economic, agricultural and political levels. Now, amid the visit, Israel carried out a series of strikes on Gaza, killing at least 13 people, including 3 members of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. According to Palestinian authorities, women and 4 children were also among the dead. The Ministry of Health declared that at least 20 others were injured in the pre-dawn strikes, at which more than 40 Israeli warplanes carried out attacks for nearly 2 hours starting. Social media application LinkedIn announces over 700 job cuts amid a weakening global economic outlook, joining other major technology companies, including its parent company Microsoft. In the past 6 months, more than 270,000 tech jobs have been cut globally. LinkedIn will also be shutting down its China-focused job app. There are currently 98 active wildfires, out of which 27 are considered out of control in Western Canada. More than 963,000 acres of land has already been charred by the wildfires. Alberta's Premier has announced that the Canadian government will be providing a one-time emergency financial aid to nearly 30,000 residents who had to evacuate their homes due to the wildfires. Every adult who's been evacuated and displaced for 7 consecutive days will receive a $1,250 along with an additional $500 for each dependent child under the age of 18. Alberta is under a state of emergency with the highest level in place. Over 54,000 hectares of land is engulfed in flames in Russia's Ural mountain region due to the wildfires. More than 4,800 firefighters have been battling the blaze, with some 6,000 volunteers helping them. The head of Russia's Federal Forestry Agency said that he expects most major fires in the region to be contained and put out within a couple of days. In the neighboring Kurgan region, the fires have already destroyed more than 300 residential houses and about 3,900 other buildings. In recent years, Russia has experienced especially widespread forest fires, which experts blame on usually dry summers and high temperatures. A severe heat wave swept the Philippines as El Nino appeared earlier this month. This has caused concerns of drought and a rise in living costs. An El Nino alert was issued last week by Philippine Meteorological Administration, warning of the weather phenomena. Isabela in the northern province recorded the highest temperature of 39 degrees Celsius. A forecast by the Weather Department also suggests that the Philippines may be hit by 10 to 14 typhoons this year. The 2 pilots in Kenya conducted a daring rescue in which they plucked a trapped tanker driver from the floodwaters of the Kenyan Sabaki River. The driver had been trapped for a number of hours as the floodwaters rose, with onlookers watching helplessly from the sidelines. The tanker had been pushed onto its side and engulfed when a flash flood hit suddenly. Flooding in the area is a constant threat during the rainy season. Now, floods in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have killed more than 400 people in one of the country's deadliest disasters, and efforts are underway to recover more bodies. Over 8,800 others have also been impacted as floods swept away homes and schools and cut off roads. Many day's survivors were mourning multiple family members killed in the flash floods that swept away entire homes and buried the villages of Bushushu and Nyambukum in muck and debris. Humanitarian workers have spent days recovering mud-caked bodies from the wrecked villages in the territory where days of torrential rain triggered landslides and caused rivers to break their banks. Now, students in the town of Kili in Idlib are harvesting roses for perfumes, a new activity for the region. The roses are to be distilled in rose water to be later used in perfumes, cosmetics and food. Rose cultivation has provided a new opportunity to locals to earn a livelihood and take care of their families. Austrian painter Gustav Klimt is set to go on auction later this month. One of his paintings, the painting at the beginning of the 20th century, depicts the iridescent waters of Austria's After Lake and is the only landscape of this subject by Klimt remaining in private hands. Klimit's work are usually sold in upwards of $45 million. Additional highlights set to include in the auction will be paintings from maestros such as Vincent van Gogh, Sir Peter Paul Rubens and also Picasso. The Buckingham Palace has released the first official portrait of King Charles following his coronation at Westminster Abbey on May 6. King Charles is pictured in full regalia in the throne room at Buckingham Palace, wearing the imperial state crown, and is holding the sovereign orb and scepter with cross. Britain's King Charles also released a statement along with his portrait, thanking everyone involved during the coronation festivities.